Hey guys, thanks for tuning back in, and today's video is going to be about making mistakes on placement and basically funny mistakes that I've made in placement. As a first year student, actually even till like third year, you're allowed to make mistakes because at the end of the day you're a student nurse and you still have time to learn how to correct those mistakes. So yeah, first placement. Whew. Oh god. Yeah, I've made ridiculous mistakes. So I'll tell you my top 5 mistakes I've made. So number 1, okay. So I like cereal with hot milk. I just thought that everyone would like cereal with hot milk. So we went around with the breakfast trolley. If someone asks for I don't know, oh, I want cornflakes for breakfast, guess what I'd give them? Hot milk. So then we ended up getting why did we get 3 complaints? Oh, every time I ask for breakfast, the student nurse gives me hot milk. Yeah. So yeah, I did get in trouble for that, but it's all right, no worries. We'll move on to the next one. So my second biggest mistake that I've made on placement is basically I was doing the blood pressures, going around doing the observations, and I remember I left the patient was what can I say? He had a larger circumference of the arm, so I decided to put a small cuff on it, thinking that it'd work. And so the blood pressure was pumping, the machine was doing the blood pressure, and basically the cuff just went flying off the patient's arm. And oh god, it was embarrassing for me, embarrassing for the patient. And just word of advice, if you see the patient's arms kind of a larger circumference, just make sure you have within your observation trolley, just make sure you put 2 cuffs. So if you see the patient has a larger arm, you'd be like, okay, I think it's more sensible if you use the bigger cuff, because then you end up like me, embarrassing yourself, embarrassing the patient, and yeah, it's just not really nice. Yeah, so cool. My third biggest mistake that I've done on placement is, remember, just the key fact, when they ask you to take a patient, as a student nurse, you'll be expected to take patients down for different examinations, and yeah, so they might take patients down for x-rays, might then take them for ultrasound. So I was expected to take this patient for ultrasound. My mentor was like, okay, can you take Mr. So-and-so down to her ultrasound? And I was like, okay. So he got into the wheelchair, wheeled him across. Why did we end up at x-ray? So we waited in the queue for an hour. We got to the desk, and I was like, oh yeah, is Mr. So-and-so on the list for x-ray? No, we don't have that guy on the register for x-ray today. Oh, okay. So I went back to the ward, and I was like to my mentor, oh yeah, like, you sent me down there, we waited for an hour, and he wasn't meant to go down for x-ray. My mentor looked at me, and she said, are you stupid? And I was like, no. And I was getting really defensive, like, I'm not stupid. And she's like, I told you to go down for ultrasound. And I was like, sorry. So my mentor was pissed off. The patient was pissed off that he missed lunch and had to wait in the queue for an hour. And yeah, it didn't go down well. It really didn't. So and then the top key factor placement is pay attention and listen. If it means just writing it on the handover, like Mrs. So-and-so has to go down for x-ray, it means writing it on your handover. So yeah, cool. Okay, so basically, so my 4th biggest mistake that I made on placement was I was on 2nd placement, and I recently learned how to empty out a catheter bag. So that basically consists of emptying out urine into a bottle and basically measuring it. So went to the patient, and basically I placed the bottle underneath the catheter bag, undid the catheter bag so the urine could come out into the bottle, and I went off forgetting to rescrew the catheter bag basically. So I went off, measured the urine, and then went to do my other duties as a student nurse. And then my mentor was like to me, okay, we're going to do Mr. So-and-so's dressing. And I was like, okay. So we went back into the room. Oh, why was there urine all over the floor? And when I mean it wasn't like a puddle, it was, oh God, it was like a river of urine all over the floor. And yeah, that didn't go down well either. But now we can laugh about it because it's funny. But at the time, it wasn't funny. It really wasn't funny. Okay, so my fifth most biggest mistake that I made in placement was, I remember when we was doing someone's wound dressing, and in order to do this wound dressing we needed to do the basically non-touch technique, which is basically making sure that when you're doing the wound you're not introducing any new infections. So you have to get a special kit. So I got out the kit, put on my sterile gloves on, and I put the kit onto the table, did the whole take one piece out, dirty hand, clean hand. And then as we were ready to go,